I'm Nikki, and today my main claim is that the Mexican drug war and Mexican drug cartels are a bigger threat to the U.S. than ISIS is. And I'm going to prove that by first showing that ISIS mainly operates overseas, while the drug cartels are closer to home. ISIS has killed fewer Americans than the drug war has. And lastly, the cartels supply a majority of illegal drugs to the U.S., which leads to drug-related deaths. So the first point, which is the drug cartels are closer to home. Mexico borders the U.S., and according to the U.S. Border Patrol, they share the U.S. and Mexico shares nearly 2,000 miles of border, and that makes it easier for the drug war to reach into the States, as to ISIS mainly operates in the Middle East, which makes it really hard to cause damage. Also, the most dangerous border towns include San Diego, El Paso, Calexico, Brownsville, Columbus, Laredo, McAllen, and Nogales, which means, and it makes them dangerous because the stray bullets from the drug war kill civilians and law enforcement, as well as there's a lot of drug and human trafficking in these border towns. My secondary claim is that ISIS has killed fewer Americans than the drug war, specifically executions. I think you guys have all seen the YouTube videos that they made. And so far there are 3 Americans that they executed on tape. James Foley, Stephen Soff, and recently Peter Kasich. As to the drug war, according to NBC News, in 2010 alone, they executed 106 Americans, and that number has increased within the past few years. Lastly, cartels supply a majority of illegal drugs to the U.S. 90%, according to CNN, 90% of cocaine is from Mexico, in the U.S. is from Mexico, according to ABC News. Mexican drug cartels control 80% of U.S. meth trade, and that leads to drugs in the U.S. which kill people, well, drug overdose. So in 2013, there were about 46,000 drug-related deaths in the U.S. 16,000 of those were from prescription drugs, so that doesn't really count. But the rest of that, about 21 to 22,000 were from illegal drug overdose. So as you can see, the drug war is a more immediate threat to the U.S. than ISIS is.
All right, well, the propositions clearly identified. The secondary claims I thought were laid out reasonably well. There are a bunch of presuppositions on how we should measure risk factors built into this, and most of yours have to do with the fatalities or the number of injuries that are being inflicted. And if that's the standard, I think that you've got an interesting argument that you've developed here. I do believe that one of the responses to this would be that, you know, there's a difference between something that is high risk and something that is a national security risk, and that would probably be the answer that you would get from the State Department and from the military on these kinds of issues. I don't think anybody denies that drug cartels are a danger, but who they are a danger to is largely a function of criminal enterprise. Now, I have no doubt that some of those people who were executed by the drug cartels were innocent bystanders or they were law enforcement personnel. But I also suspect that a number of them are, as they say, competitors and that kind of thing. And so as a consequence, I don't know, the nature of the threat is quite the same. You know, it's pointed in a different place. And I think that would be the big argument that's going on here. I like the statistical comparison that you had based on the numbers. You know, it's pretty simple. You've got some good factual data on these points. I do think that there's an argument to be made that the drug industry is a threat to national security, and I think that would have been a way to maybe develop this argument a little bit more to make it feel more substantive in nature. Otherwise, like I said, it's a comparison of fatalities, which is not necessarily the best way of going about doing this. The implication of the dangers of the drug war. I don't know that the narcotics cartels have threatened to ignite any weapons of mass destruction in Amarillo, that kind of thing. And they're bad and it's a negative kind of thing, but there are other consequences in the other thing. And that's, like I said, the comparison that's going on. Your presentation, you need to project a little bit more, but you did an okay job speaking to us. You just need to sound a little bit more like you're confident and in control of your argument, and that's part of its personality. Some people are just a little quieter than others, but when you're speaking up, you do want to sound more assertive, I think. All right, thank you.